who's at the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court. Karyn, a very good morning to you. There are two cases that Krejcir is sort of facing today. One has happened overnight when we saw the court drama where his lawyers were saying he's too sick to be in jail, he must go to hospital, and later on there'll be the bail application. Let's begin with the one that happened overnight, and that the police, his lawyers say that he's too sick to go to the hospital. What happened in court?
Well, essentially it was quite a late night court application. It ended just before 2 o'clock in the morning. The lawyers are essentially arguing that through their doctor, the doctor that examined Krejcir, that he does show elevated levels of what's called CK. Now they're saying that this particular blood test that he's undergone clearly shows that he is at risk of going into renal failure and possibly cardiac arrest. The doctor saying that he had never before met or examined Radovan Krejcir, but having interacted with him on Saturday and having done these blood tests, he really felt that Krejcir was at risk for renal failure and felt that it was very important that he immediately be hospitalized and subjected to medical testing and monitored. Crucially, Dan, what he was saying was that Krejcir could be in hospital for something like 2 days. He wasn't giving a very long period. This isn't sort of an ongoing hospitalization that he's talking about. And that's why I think we may well see the judge agreeing to the order. I think the fundamental problem that the judge had was really the issue of Radovan Krejcir's security in a hospital facility. And we know that behind the scenes yesterday, after the case was heard, the judge was in chambers with the state now pushing on its behalf that Krejcir be held in the jail, in the hospital section of one of Johannesburg's prison facilities. Of course, we don't think his lawyers will be too thrilled with that. But essentially, his big difficulty at this stage being, if he puts Radovan Krejcir in a hospital facility, can he guarantee that Radovan Krejcir will not be able, according to the state's worst fears, to flee that facility? And can he actually guarantee Radovan Krejcir's security in that facility, given that in the last few weeks 4 of his friends have allegedly been murdered? Allegedly been murdered. So those are the two big questions that I think will very much frame the judge's ruling this morning.
Okay, the whole issue is that his lawyers want him in a private facility. The state is saying we can give them medical care in a jail in the wing where there's a hospital. Now, when is the judge expected, the magistrate is expected to make a decision, a ruling on this particular application?
Well, he's expected to give that decision at 11 o'clock in the morning. Remember, it was an urgent application, so whatever he decides will have an immediate bearing on where Radovan Krejcir is moved to. We know that Radovan Krejcir will, when that ruling is made, very likely be in the court behind me, the Palm Ridge Magistrates Court, which is, of course, where he's having his first court appearance. But, we know that the lawyers, we don't know what the state's reaction will be if indeed that ruling is granted, given that people like National Police Commissioner Ria Pecha has been so vociferous in her argument that Radovan Krejcir should not get bail, he should not be released, and he should be kept in custody. Remember also that the police haven't commented on it, but there are very, very strong suggestions amongst, particularly from people like Paul O'Sullivan, the forensic consultant, that Radovan Krejcir was actually intending to flee South Africa on Friday. So there is a bit of anxiety from the police that if he is released under these kind of circumstances, that he may well go on the run.
So it's likely that whatever the ruling is at 11 o'clock, it may have an impact on how the rest of the bail application case will proceed. Now, he's facing kidnapping charges, among others, and that's what he'll be applying bail for. Can you just give us a background to those, Karyn, very briefly?
All we know from the police is that the complainant in that matter says the incident of alleged kidnapping and assault GBH, or attempted murder, took place in June this year. We know that this is a man from Ermelo. We understand, according to the police, that he was kidnapped by Radovan Krejcir. We have heard amounts ranging between 50,000 Rand to 100,000 Rand ransoms being demanded. The allegation is that he was then beaten up so badly that he nearly died, hence the attempted murder charge. Dan, also interestingly enough, we don't know if his hospitalization will have an immediate effect on the bail application, because remember, it's very likely that the judge in this case will say that Radovan Krejcir must go to a hospital to be evaluated for a period of 2 days. So it may well be that he goes to hospital and then is released back into police custody, in which case it would be in his interests to pursue a bail application.
Thank you very much. That's eNCA reporter Karyn Maughan.
News that moves. eNCA.com.